Hello everyone. Thought I'd take a break from what I'm doing and just show you this book that I've had in my collection for many years now. Having a bit of a strange day. It's not it's not turning out the way I expected it to. Um, I I started off with a very simple task of having to sign and send off some legal documents, and I'm not the most organised and tidy of people at the best of times, and I thought I would file my copies of the correspondence away with my will, and started to search for it, and it wasn't where I expected to find it, and the whole episode's turning into a sort of marathon effort to try and sort out my files and my bookshelves and all kinds of things. And I've just got correspondence and letters and documents and things just chucked carelessly into boxes or even just left on surfaces and so on, and came across one particular thing that I thought, aha, I can fold that up and put it in the within the pages of a book. But it took me a good half an hour to find the book that I wanted to find, and in the process of doing that, one of my bookshelves was so overburdened that it collapsed, and I had to repair the bookshelf. And one of the books that was involved in that avalanche was this one, and as I say, I've given up on trying to find my will now, and I'm just taking a break and a breather. But I sat down and had a look through this, and it brought back some recollection of why I obtained it in the first place. It is such a wonderful book, and full of a kind of history that you don't sort of hear about very much now. Well, if at all. It's to do with the Imperial Russian Air Service, so it's a very sort of limited period from the age of the beginnings of manned flight through to the end of the Russian dynasty, which was obviously 1917. So it's only a sort of 6 or 7 year period at the most. It was published in 1995, absolutely packed full with data and information and photographs and nice sort of line drawings and sketches and so on. I'll show you some of those in a moment, but as I say, it's a sort of a theatre of war and a period of history that we just don't kind of encompass nowadays. If you think about games like Wings of Glory and so on, it's nearly all set on the Western Front rather than the Eastern Front, and and yet this book is just packed full of characters and aircraft types and colours and markings and so on that would be interesting to put onto models and to war game this particular theatre. Let me show you a few things in here that I've come across just while I'm taking a breather and having a cup of tea and rummaging through it. But before I mention those, let me show you the colour parts at the back. Look at that fur. I mean, that's worthy of an Osprey book, or one of those type of publications. Cossacks and Scouts by James Dietz. Absolutely fantastic. really makes me want to kind of paint up a model aircraft with that colour design. Obviously sort of designed to be hidden in the snow a little bit, sort of white design. But you know, it starts with the sort of very early aircraft designs, which were really, what do they call that? It's sort of pusher, isn't it? Where the propellers at the behind the pilot, enabling him to fire forwards with a machine gun. Not that it appears to have a machine gun. Saulniers. I think this was the original reason I got the book, that I wanted to get some aircraft models that I might be able to use for the Russian Civil War, and I think it was Irregular had a model Saulnier, so I bought a couple of those and then copied I think I copied that one, yeah. So that was 1917, so you could imagine that being used, you know, possibly in the kind of conflicts between revolutionaries and imperialists and so on. Newports. It doesn't just have aircraft. I mean, that's interesting in itself, to give you a nice enlargement of the insignia on the side of the aircraft. So if you did want to model it, you could do so. There's some really great ideas in here. Look at that sort of bat wing with the skull and crossbones and sword crossed with the propeller. Some fantastic inspirational kind of markings and designs in here. Loads of it, as you can see. This was a seaplane from the Black Sea Fleet. Nearly at the back of the colour plates here. These are Sikorskis. Massive monsters of planes. 4 propellers. Really interesting sort of early Russian aircraft. This is what I mean, it doesn't just have aircraft designs, it has uniform details and depictions of various characters and so on. Sorry, knocking the camera. And there's a bit more artwork by the same artist, James Dietz. Russian peasants bringing flowers to a injured crew of a downed Russian aircraft. Details of medals and their classes and so on. Insignia that you might find, the roundels. Really incredible book, really incredible. And then all the appendices with stacks and stacks of information in there, and as I say, the line drawings of the aircraft. But let me just show you a few things from the photograph, the black and white pages, which at first glance, you know, wouldn't seem so interesting. I noticed here in the appendices, this caught my eye because I've been printing up and painting observation balloons very similar to this one. This is a captive balloon, so this is obviously the German design of a Drachen. But the one that I liked was this one here. Which is some soldiers manually trying to transport a balloon across an open field, and you can see what I mean. Really, they should have been using trucks from it, but you can see what's happened. That the wind has taken the rear of the balloon up, and there are still men desperately trying to cling onto the ropes and stop it from blowing away. They're pretty lucky to have got away with that, because if the others had lost their grip and so on, they would have been floating off into the air with no parachutes or anything. Anyway, the thing that really found appealing, which, you know, you could write a book or have a film about this. Let's hope I can find it now. Here we are. There's lots of biographies of various pilots and so on, and there were quite a large number of female combat pilots. And this isn't, we're not talking about after the Russian Revolution, when you would expect, more sort of gender equality and so on to be taking place. This is during the Imperial era, and this biography here is absolutely amazing, so I thought I'd just read this out to you. It's a lady called Princess Eugenie M. Shakovskaya, who was the world's, not Russia's, the world's first woman combat pilot. So this is a picture of her. She looks a very glamorous lady. There's a number of other photographs of her, but listen to her, her combat history. It's absolutely incredible. Princess Eugenie M. Shakovskaya was the second Russian woman pilot, but more importantly, she was Russia's and the world's first woman combat pilot. Born in 1889, she travelled extensively. While in Germany in 1911, she was impressed with German aviation and at her own expense learned to fly at Johannisthal, the major German flight training centre in Berlin. On August the 16th, 1911, she obtained her pilot's certificate, a German certificate number 247, flying the Wright Flyer. When the Tripolitan War broke out between Italy and Turkey in September 1912, Princess Shakovskaya was eager to fight at the front and apply to the Italian government for active service as a reconnaissance pilot, but her application was politely refused. Princess Shakovskaya continued flying and soon escaped death in a mishap. On the morning of April the 24th, 1913, while flying with V.M. Abramovich as her passenger, she took off from Johannisthal Aerodrome in an aviatic. While at only 70 to 80 metres shortly after takeoff, the engine failed and the plane crashed. Abramovich, who was also a famous Russian pilot and who held the world's flight duration record at the time, was killed. Princess Shakovskaya suffered a concussion, but no other injuries. As soon as Russia declared war on Germany in August 1914, Princess Shakovskaya wrote to Tsar Nicholas II requesting assignment to active duty as a military pilot. She told the Tsar that as a sovereign of all the Russians, he could do nothing better for his armies than to allow her to serve as a military pilot for such reconnaissance and artillery spotting missions as the weather and the Germans permitted. Amused and impressed, the Tsar granted her request. She was ordered to active service in November 1914. She was given the rank of Praporshchik ensign and was posted to the 1st Field Air Detachment on the Northwestern Front as an artillery and reconnaissance pilot. However, it is not clear if she flew combat missions during her service with this unit. Several historians have suggested Princess Shakovskaya, being an attractive woman, became involved in numerous liaisons with officers in her unit. Furthermore, at an undetermined date, she was supposedly apprehended by Russian authorities and charged with giving information to the enemy. She was convicted of treason and sentenced to death by firing squad. However, before the sentence could be carried out, Tsar Nicholas II intervened and granted her clemency. Her death sentence was commuted to life imprisonment in a convent. Shakovskaya was freed during the Bolshevik Revolution and joined the Red Forces. According to several sources, she became a drug addict. While under the influence of drugs, she shot one of her assistants for no apparent reason. In return, she was shot and killed by her fellow revolutionaries. So, as I say, absolutely incredible story, and you can see a film or a TV series being made just out of the life of that incredible woman. So anyway, that's the end of my tea break, as it were. I've just got to get back to trying to sort the mess out that I've created, and I've given up on trying to find my world. I'll have to leave that for another day now. But thought I'd show you this, so I thought you might be interested. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.